Okay, today we start with the stability analysis of the control system. So first of all, discuss the definition. So stability of a control system, it is represented as the stable system if the natural response approaches to zero as the time approaches to infinity. So similarly, the unstable system represents if the natural response goes without a bound as a time approaches to zero. Okay, similarly, if the system is said to be marginally stable, if the natural response neither decays nor grows but remains constant or oscillates as time approaches infinity. So these are the various stability which is analyzed into this system. So now let us focus on the natural responses which defines the stability of the system. So the stable system have closed loop transfer functions with the poles. If it is presented in the left half of S plane, then the system is said to be stable. If the closed loop system poles are located on the right half of S plane, then system is said to be unstable. So this is the other conclusion. We say whether the system is stable or not. Okay, so this is how we can discuss. So here we can able to clearly see the stability of the system is been analyzed. So when the closed loop transfer function of the poles are located on the left half of S plane, the system is said to be unstable if the poles are located on the right half of S plane. So this is very simple thing that determines the stability of the system. So now we can able to see various kinds of transfer functions which is given. Okay, so which also determines the stability of the system. Okay, so now we are going to say whether the system is stable, marginally stable, or unstable. Okay, so now you can able to see we are having a pole at s is equal to -1. Okay, so therefore it will be located at right of left of S plane. One pole is located at left of S plane, but here you can able to see s square plus s plus 1. So this pole will be located at the imaginary axis. So whenever the poles are located at the imaginary axis, then the system is said to be marginally stable. Okay, similarly with the second case also. So here the zeros is also presented. Okay, so here in the third case you can able to see the poles are located in the right half of S plane. So therefore, one pole is located in the right half of S plane. Therefore, system is said to be unstable. So like that, we can say whether the system is stable or not. Okay, depending upon the location of the poles of the system. So this is what it has been taken by the Routh-Hurwitz stability criterion. So in this Routh-Hurwitz stability criterion, we will construct the Routh array if the number of roots of the characteristic equation which has the real parts in the first column of Routh array. So then it's assumed to be all the poles is located in the left half of S plane. Therefore, system is stable. If any sign changes is there in the first column of Routh array, then there is a poles at the right half of S plane. Therefore, system is unstable. So how many poles are located in the right half of S plane? That gives as the number of sign changes in the first column of Routh array. Okay, so this is about the stability analysis of given by the Routh-Hurwitz. Okay, so you can able to clearly discuss in this method stability information without any need to solve the closed loop system poles. So this method uh, we can say how many closed loop systems poles are in the left of a S plane or in the right of a S plane. So we can also say how the poles are located into the system, and also we can say the whether which conditions of the stability of the system has. Okay, so in this method we can have two kinds of steps. So the first we have to construct the Routh array or Routh table. Okay, and from that we have to interpret the stability analysis. So that we can also determine how the location of the poles are being presented into the system, whether the poles are located in the left half of S plane or right half of S plane, like that. Okay, so here so now you can able to see. So that is a small bit information regarding the Routh-Hurwitz criterion. So now we can able to see Routh-Hurwitz criterion. So how to construct the Routh array, that is very important. So here you can able to see the characteristic equation in which order of the system it has been given. Okay, so here order of the system determines highest s power in the polynomial equation, so that gives the order of the system. Poles that is type number of the system always represents how many poles located at the origin of the system. Okay, so the type number will be varies from type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3 and type 4, like that. The order of the system it will be varies from first order system to the higher order systems. So we are going to take the characteristic equation that will be given or obtained from the closed loop transfer function only. Okay, so the characteristic equation is nothing but 1 plus g of s into h of s. So that characteristic equation is been assumed to be service table. How we are going to construct. So first of all, we have to look into the yes power. Okay, if it is a even power, then we have to take the first row, first thing as a even that is a decreasing order in the even powers. For example, s power the equation starts from s power 4, then we have to consider the first root array, first row will be s power 4. Okay, so s power 4 will be consist with coefficient, so that coefficient will be consist with the first column, first row. Okay, that element will be uh, s power 4 coefficient, and then s power even power decrement will be s power 2. So s power 2 coefficient, we have to look into the equation. That coefficient has to be taken and written into the second column and the first row element as the second column and first row element. And similarly, the next s power decreasing even power will be s power 0. So now s power 0 is nothing but your constant into the equation. So that constant, what is that value, we have to take that has to be written as the first column third element. Like that we have to construct the first row. Okay, similarly the second row is also being constructed by looking into the characteristic equation given in the problem itself. Okay, so now s power n, that is a even power s power 4 is been taken for the example, and we have been constructed the root array. Okay, so with s power 4 coefficient first element, s power 2 coefficient as a second element, and s power 0 as a third element. Now the second row you have to fill. Okay, so in that we have to look into the even power s power. So for example, as we have been taken s power 4, now the next decrement power. Okay, so that is s power 3. So s power 3 we have to consider as a second row equation. So in this s power 3 is nothing but your odd power. Okay, so 3, and the next decreasing order is s power 1. So s power 3 or coefficient, we have to look into the problem and we have to write that coefficient into the second column first element. Okay, second column second row first element. And then next decreasing odd power is nothing but your say s power 1. So you have to look into the equation, and s power 1 coefficient is nothing but your um, whatever the coefficient is there, you have to write that as a second column second element. Okay, like that you have to. So far you have to write. So now you have been filled the first two rows by looking into the characteristic equation. Similarly, it has been written over here also. So as the number of nth order polynomial equation which is given, a n s power n plus a n minus 1 s power n minus 1 plus a1 s plus a0, like that it goes. So now you can able to see s power n is given. Okay, so here highest s power gives the number of poles available in the system. Okay, so that means if you have a s power 4, that means 4 number of poles is been available in the system. So now s power n has been taken, so its coefficient is a power n, it has been written over here. Okay, and then this is we have to look at whether it is a even number or the odd number. Okay, so therefore next decreasing even number will be s power n minus 2. So then that coefficient will be a n minus 2. Similarly, the next will be a n minus 4. So that is been written as a third column third element. Okay, similarly next s power decreasing s power will be s power n minus 1. Its coefficient is nothing but a minus 1. So next decreasing odd number will be a n minus 3, like that it will be goes. So now you have been filled the first two rows by looking into the equation only. Okay, so next rows we have to do the calculation. In order to determine the next row elements in the root array, we have to do the calculation. So for that, here you can able to follow the some equation. Okay, so now you can able to see, we can take this as a second, that is a third row you have to fill. In that, the first element will be considered as a b1. Okay, so in order to write the determine the b1 value, we have to consider the above two rows. Okay, so in the above two rows, so in the second row, first element that has to be multiplied with the second element in the first row. So therefore a n minus 1 into a n minus 2, then minus, okay, and next a n into a n minus 3. In the cross diagonal element you have to multiply, divided by the second row first element you have to do it. Okay, divided by, you have to put the second column, second row first element, that is a n minus 1. Like that you have to determine the b1 value. Similarly, if you want to determine the b2 value, so you have to left the b2 column element. You have to consider only the b1 column element and b3 column element. Okay, so now you have to cross multiply the diagonals from the bottom. Okay, so now you can able to determine the b2 as a n minus 1 into a n minus 4 minus a n minus 5 into a n. Like that you have to determine in the numerator value. Denominator will be first column of second row. Okay, that will be determined written as a n minus 1. So this is how we have to determine your a b1 b2 value. So if you want to determine the as a next row, okay, so then you have to leave the first row, and you have to consider the next immediate above two rows only. Okay, so therefore if you want to determine the c1, you have to consider a b1 and a n minus 1 row only. Okay, so therefore you can able to see in the formula also, c1 is equal to that you can cross multiply the diagonals, b1 into a n minus 3 minus b2 into a n minus 1 divided by b1. Okay, so it's very simple. As usual you have to follow. Okay, similarly if you want to determine the c2, leave the center column element. Okay, so then you have to cross multiply the diagonals. So therefore you will be getting b1 n minus 5 minus b3 into n minus 1 divided by b1. So like that you have to just fill all the rows. Okay, so you will be constructing the root array. Okay, so here hope everyone can understand and recall what you have learned from the root array construction. Okay, so now once you what are the procedure we have been followed, that has been explained as a theory manner now. Okay, so here you can able to see other things is been given. So here once you construct the root array, and then we have to analyze whether the system is been stable or not. Okay, so that is what we are going to discuss. Okay, so now you can able to see we have been constructed the root array. You can able to see s power 4, s power 3, s power 2, s power 1, s power 0. For example, I have taken the characteristic equation as s power 4 equation. So you can able to see the s power 4 next the coefficient will be s power 4 a4. Okay, so here s per next immediate decreasing even power is s power 2. S power 2 order coefficient is a2, that is filled in the first row, and s power 0 is nothing but your constant, that is a naught. You have filled the first row. Second row will be s power 4, the next immediate power is s power 3. So s power 3 order coefficient is a3. Next decreasing odd number power is s power 1, its coefficient is a1, and next decreasing element s power element is not presented, therefore considered as a 0. So now you can determine the s power 2, therefore consider above the two elements rows. Okay, two rows. So now multiply with the diagonally, so you'll be getting a3 into a2 minus a1 into a2 a1 into a4 divided by a3. Okay, so that is considered as a b1 value. Okay, so now similarly you can if you want to determine the b2 value, leave this consider the first column and third column, you can obtain A3 into A0 minus 0 into A4 divided by A3. Okay, so similarly, you can determine the next column. So if you want to determine the third element, so leave this the third column element, consider the first column as well as the last column is not available, therefore you have to consider that as 0. So therefore A4, A3 and here 0, 0 will be there. Therefore finally if you want to multiply the cross diagonals, you will be getting A3 into 0 minus 0 into A4 divided by A3. So you will be getting resultant as 0. Okay, similarly you can determine the next row, that is S power 1. So here you can able to consider the above immediate rows, that is B1 and A3 and B2 and A1 and 0 and 0. Okay, so now you can take if you want to determine this C1 value, you can have B1 into A1, okay, and then B2 into A3 divided by B1. Okay, similarly, if you want to determine the middle column element in the S power 1 row, then you will be leaving this middle column elements, then consider only the first column and third column, you will be getting B1 into 0 minus 0 into A3 divided by B1. Okay, so like that you will be constructing all the rows. Okay, so now S power 0 will be, you have to consider above the two rows. Therefore, B1 and C1 you have to consider. So you will be getting C1 into C1 into B2 minus 0 into B1 divided by C1, like that it will come. Okay, so like that you have to first consider the root array and then we have to look into the root array. So if there is no column in the no element in the first column um, is negative. Okay, so therefore this all the elements is said to be positive in the first column of root array, then the system is said to be stable, otherwise the system is said to be unstable. Okay, for example, if there is a sign changes, then number of sign changes gives the number of poles at the right of a spline. So this is your statement for the root Hurwitz criterion. So now we will be having a various cases. So in order to determine the stability of the root array from construction of the root array. Okay, so now we will be considering the first case, there is no element in the first column is 0. Okay, so there is no zeros and all. So if the 0 presented, then what we have to do? Okay, and then complete one row. If it is 0, it consists all the elements as 0, then what we have to do? Like that we will be discussing the problems. Okay, so now you can take the next first case element. Okay, so now you can able to see the polynomial equation is been given. So you have constructing the root array, you are getting this. Okay, so then you can able to see each value has been determined. Okay, so then similarly you can take the next the same procedure what we have discussed. So similarly you can follow and you can determine the root array. So here also you can take S power 3 6 s square plus 12s plus 8 equal to 0. That is a polynomial equation. Now you are going to construct the root array. So here you can able to see in the first column of root array all the elements is positive element, therefore there is no sign changes, therefore the system is said to be stable. Okay, all the poles is said to be all the poles means S power 3 poles. Okay, so if 3 poles are located in the left of S plane, so this is very simple to determine the stability of the system by the construction of root array. Okay, so similarly, you can consider the next problem. So S power 3, simple polynomial equations we are taking. Okay, S power 3 plus S power 2 plus 2s plus 24 is equal to 0. So you are constructing the root array S power 3, S power 2, and then S power 1, S power 0. So here in the first column of root array consists with minus element. Therefore, you can able to see the sign changes. So in the, minus 22 before we are having plus 1, after you are having plus 24. Therefore, the sign changes from plus to minus, again minus to plus. Therefore, there is a two sign changes. Okay, so the total number of poles is 3. In that, the two poles, two number of sign changes gives the two poles which is located on the right half of S plane. So therefore, the system is unstable. Okay, so like that we have to say how the location of the poles and how the stability of the system by constructing the root array. Okay, hope everyone can easily able to understand. Okay, so and recall yourself. Okay, what you have learned. Okay, So simple like that we have to follow. Okay, so now you can able to see we are having a this is just we are going to take the another polynomial equation s power 3 plus 3s square plus 3s plus 1 plus k equal to 0. So now we are having a constant k. So in that case we have to determine for which range of k the system is stable or not. Okay, so this is what we are going to do in this kind of problems. Okay, so as usual what we have to do, we are going to construct the root array. So first we have to uh, stability for the stable system, what is the condition? The first column of root array should consist all the elements as positive elements. So for that we have to take the first column elements. Here you can able to see 8 minus k divided by 3 is equal to 0. Okay, so now you can able to see 8 is equal to uh, plus k. Okay, so 8 minus k is equal to 0, therefore 8 is equal to k. Okay, so therefore the k value can be taken as 8. So now you can substitute that if the k value is less than 8, then you will be getting less than k, then you will be getting all the elements in the first column of root array as positive elements. If it is greater than 8, then you will be getting the first column of root array consists with negative element. Therefore the range of the k for which the stable system will be 0 to 8. Okay, that means in between the less than 0 to 8 means so the system will be stable. Why? Because the first column of root array will consist of positive elements only. Okay, so if increases greater than 8, then it will be consist with negative element, therefore the system becomes unstable. Okay, so this is the how you have to do it. Okay, and you have to analyze the stability of the system. So now we are going to take the another problem. So here you can able to see the problem is being given. So here many of us we do the mistake over here. Okay, so simply they take the denominator of the equation. Okay, so we should not do like that. Okay, so we always, if the system is given like this, so here the open loop transfer function is given, unity feedback is also given, input and output is given. Therefore first we have to determine the closed loop transfer function. Okay, that is very important. Once you finish the determination of closed loop transfer function, then only you have to consider the characteristic equation from the denominator. From that only you have to construct the root array. So many of us do the mistake over here and try to solve the problems directly. So that gives total problem as a wrong. Okay, so we have to avoid that. Whenever problem is given like this, so whenever the open loop transfer function is given with unity feedback, then first of all you have to determine the closed loop transfer function cfs divided by rfs, that is numerator divided by denominator plus numerator into h. Okay, so here you can determine the characteristic equation from the denominator of the closed loop transfer function only. So you have to consider that and you have to take that as a characteristic equation and then consider to construct the root array. Okay, so now highest s power is nothing but your 3. This is a odd number. Okay, so therefore its coefficient will be decreasing in order. S power 3 is 1, s power 1 is 31, and s power next element is not available 0, and then s power 2 its coefficient is 10. Okay, and s power 0 is 1030 it is given. Okay, so here it is being given. So common element, if it is divisible you can do it, otherwise you can proceed with the calculations. So you have your calculator just to determine the s power 1. Okay, s power, in order to determine the s power 1 you can take that is a 10. Okay, so here you can able to see the 10 will be divisible, therefore 1 and 103 becomes the row. Okay, so you can take this elements 1 into 31. Okay, minus 103 into 1 divided by 1, so you'll be getting minus 72 as a result. And similarly if you want to determine the second element, 1 into 0 minus 0 into 1 divided by 1, so it becomes 0. So as per 0 you can determine, so you will be taking minus 72 into 31. Okay, sorry, minus 32 into 1 not sorry minus 72 into 103 minus 0 into 1. Okay, so divided by minus 72, so you'll be getting only 103. So my remaining values become 0. Okay. So now you have to look into the first column of root array. So it consists of negative element. Therefore, system is unstable. The stability of the system is being analyzed, but you have to say the location of the pole also. Okay. So here, how many sign changes is there? You have to consider. Okay. So here you can able to see the sign changes varies from +1 to -72, and then -72 103 103. Okay, so therefore the sign changes from plus to minus, minus to plus. There is possible of two sign changes. Therefore s power 3 is three poles. So in out of that, two poles are located in the right half of s plane. Therefore system is unstable. Two poles are located on the right half of s plane. This is how we have to determine the stability, and also you can able to construct the root array, and you have to say the location of the poles also. It's very simple thing. Okay, so now you can able to see next problem. So find the stability of the system for the given characteristic equation by constructing the root array. Okay, so now you can able to see 2s power 4 s cube plus 3s square plus 5s plus 10 is equal to 0. So now you have to take that highest s power. Okay, that is s power 4. It is a even power, therefore s power 4 coefficient is 2, and then s power decreasing power is even power is s power 2. S power 2 coefficient is 3, s power 0 coefficient is 10, and similarly next immediate decreasing power is s power 3, its coefficient is 1, s power 1 coefficient is 5 0. So now s power 2 you can determine. So 1 into 3 minus 5 into 2 divided by 1. Okay, so you'll be getting -7. Okay, similarly 1 into 10 minus 0 into 2 minus divided by 1. So you'll be getting 0, 10 over here. Similarly, you can determine the next value. So next row you can determine s power 1. So here you can consider the above two rows. So you will be getting -7 into 5. Okay, so -7 into 5 minus 10 into 1 divided by -7. So you'll be getting positive value. So remaining elements will be 0. So s power 0, if you want to determine, so you have to consider above next immediate rows. Okay, so above immediate rows are nothing but 6.43 minus 7, and here you will be getting 0 and 10. So you'll be getting 6.43 into 10, and minus 0, 0 into -7 divided by 6.43 will be cancelled. You will be getting only 10. So here you can able to see the first column of root array. It consists of negative element. So therefore system is unstable. So then there is a two sign changes. Therefore two poles or two roots will be located on the right half of S plane. Okay, so you should not afraid of the equation by looking into the equation. So here in the similar previous problems or equations, the s power 4 doesn't consist any coefficient, but here it consists. Okay, so therefore you should not get confused. So just you have to follow the procedure, and you have to do the do the procedure and determine the stability of the system. It's very simple. Okay, so now you can able to see the stability of the system is also been written. Okay, as a result for this construction you will be getting 4 mark, and this will be the 2 marks if you are having if you are writing the university exams. For the gate exams, so it's just you have to pay the attention for the results. Okay, so these are the procedure. You should be very thorough with that, and you have to practice more problems so that within a fraction of second you can able to determine the answers. Okay, so this is about the construction of root array. So second case we go. If only 1 0 in the first column, what happens? Okay, so how to solve that problem by constructing the root array, we are going to discuss. So if any element in the first column, only one element is become 0, then you have to consider that as a epsilon. You have to replace that element 0 in terms of epsilon, and you have to proceed the problem and construct the root array. Okay, so this is what we are going to do in this method. Okay, so here you can able to see we are having a s power 5 to s power 4 and plus 2 s power 3 plus 4 s power 2 plus 11 s plus 10 is equal to 0. So if you are constructing the root array, you will be getting s power 3 3 row, one element becomes zero. So therefore, whenever one in that particular row, one element becomes zero. So always replace that into epsilon. Okay, so do the epsilon, replace that into epsilon. You will be getting a remaining values. C1 becomes, you can able to see 4 epsilon minus 12 divided by epsilon. So you'll be get. Okay, so you will be getting the equation as like this. So here, next element D1 can also be written as like this. Okay, so like that you can determine. So again, what we have to do, we have to replace this epsilon into zero. So if you are doing that, you will be getting the remaining values. Okay, so if so if you are replacing epsilon into zero again, and you will be getting that first column of root array will be little bit changes. So if it consists of as usual negative element, then the system is said to be unstable. Here that is the case in this problem. Okay, and then we can say the location of poles as the number of sign changes also. So now we can take the next problem as per for similar problem. Here also the same thing. Okay. So here the system is been unstable for all the values of k. Okay. So here minus k divided by epsilon it comes. Therefore, negative sign is there. Therefore, system is unstable completely. So similarly, you can follow with other. Okay. So here you can able to see epsilon one element only zero, so therefore you are replacing that into epsilon. You are proceeding with root construction of root array, and then you are replacing again that epsilon into zero, so you will be getting the value as minus some values, sign changes, therefore system becomes unstable like that. Okay, so next reverse method we can able to see similar procedure you have to follow. Okay, so once you understand it, these and all very easy only. And then we have to consider the next case. So entire row becomes zero. So what happens? Okay. So whenever entire row becomes zero, so then you have to consider the above row. You have to consider that as a auxiliary characteristic equation from taking above row. Okay. So that equation, auxiliary equation, can be differentiated. Okay, and then you have to consider the differentiated equation as that next row values, and then you have to proceed the construction of root array, and then you have to check whether you are getting a how the nature of the roots. So depending upon the nature of the roots, if the roots are purely imaginary, then the roots will be located on the negative real axis, imaginary axis. Therefore, system is said to be limitedly marginally stable. Okay, so if the poles are located at the origin, and if the poles are located at the left of a S-plane, then it's said to be stable. Like that, it will be analyzed. Okay, so this is the thing we are going to discuss into the characteristic based on the characteristic equation, the how the location of the poles are there. Depending upon that, the stability of the system can be analyzed by the Routh-Hurwitz criterion. Okay, so this is what I want to complete with the concepts behind the root array, and then we can go with the root locus. Okay. So here you can able to see this is the next method to analyze the stability of the system. So here we will be having a characteristic equation. The characteristic equation will be having a roots of the equation. Okay, so that roots of the system will take different path. Okay, so different path of different locus. Okay, different path of the locus. So for for the variation, continuous variation from for the open loop gain, which varies 0 to infinity. Okay, so that is nothing but your root locus. Okay, so here you can able to see we can consider the simple open loop transfer function, and then it has been consist with a unity feedback system. So G of S becomes K divided by S plus 1. So you can get the closed loop transfer function as 1 K divided by S plus 1 plus K. Okay, so here you can able to see you can construct the root array. Sorry, you can take the various values for K. Okay, so various values of K, the location of the poles will be varies. Okay, so depending upon the depending upon that, you can able to see the location of closed loop poles for different values of k, which is increases from 0 to greater values. Okay, so if it increases, the poles will be take different routes. Okay, so that is the path constructing the poles which take the different locus, that is called as a root locus. The root locus is the path of the roots of the characteristic equation traced out in the S-plane as the parameter varies from, that is open loop gain varies from 0 to infinity. That is called as a root locus. This has been invented by the W.H. Evans. Okay, so that is what I want to tell you. So one way is to compute the roots of the characteristic equation for all the possible values of k. So you can do like this also. Okay. So it's very simple manner. So you are taking a various values of k from 0 to various higher values. So just you are substituting that into the characteristic equation. You can say how the poles of the equations are there. Okay, so that is the introduction to which is given by the root locus. So the finding the roots of the characteristic equation. So higher than the 3, the degree of characteristic equation is 3. Okay, then we need the computer solutions. Okay, for simple method, the characteristic equation has been developed by the W.R. Evans. Okay, so this has been extensively used in the control engineering for analyzing the stability of the system. So this method is called out the root locus method. So it's one which roots of the characteristic equation is plotted for all the values of system parameters, which is varies from 0 to infinity. Okay, it's very important thing. And then the particular thing of this method is we have to consider the S-plane with has the symmetrical axis. Okay, so whatever the scale is been chosen for the real axis, that has to be chosen for imaginary axis also. Okay, so and also here by using a root locus method, designer can predict the effects of the location of the closed loop poles, which is varying the gain value by addition of poles and zeros also to the systems. Okay, so these are the important things we should able to know. Okay, so and apart from that, the introduction consists with learning of amplitude criterion and magnitude criterion. So in conducting the root loci, angle and magnitude conditions are very important. So as usual, you can take the open loop plant gain and also feedback gain. You will be getting a closed loop transfer function as a g of s divided by 1 plus g of s into h of s. Okay, so here you can able to see. So the denominator is considered as a characteristic equation as it that will be equivalent to 0. Therefore, 1 plus g of s h of s becomes 0. So from this you can determine g of s h of s equal to minus 1. Okay. So now you can, if you want to determine the magnitude criterion, just apply the magnitude on both the side of the equation. So you will be getting magnitude criterion. So here the magnitude of h of s, g of s and h of s is equal to 1. So that is your magnitude criterion. If you want to determine the angle criterion, so angle of g of s h of s equal to minus 1, which represents plus or minus 180 into 2q plus 1. So this way where k will be varies from 0 to 1, 2, 3 like that. Okay, so the magnitude criterion always the magnitude of g of s h of s equal to 1, and the angle criterion will be angle of g of s h of s equal to plus or minus 180 into 2q plus 1. Okay, so this will be the amplitude and um, angle criterion. Okay, so this is the important things we should know, and then we have to go for various steps involving constructing the root locus. So the first step, whenever the transfer function is given to construct the root locus, so you have to look into the transfer function and you have to locate the open loop poles and zeros into the S plane. Okay, so now you can able to see in this given problem. Construction of root locus. Okay, so here you can able to see k divided by s into s plus 1 s plus 2. So this is a one problem. Okay, so here you can able to see in this first step you have to locate the poles and zeros. So first of all you have to look into the open loop transfer function and you have to identify the number of poles and zeros. Now we already know the s plus term located in the numerator will be zeros, s plus term located in the new denominator will be poles. So s is equal to 0, s is equal to minus 1, s is equal to minus 2. So that is what here it has been located as a cross. Always zeros will be represented in terms of small empty circle. So here you can able to see it is easy to locate the poles. Okay, and then we can go for the next. So next step, to determine the root locus and the real axis. For that we have to just follow one method. Okay, so first of all you have to take a test point, okay, in between two any poles. So here the first pole is been at the origin, second pole is at -1, third pole is at -2. Okay, so first pole is 0 in -1. So in between that I am going to take the um, test point, and we are going to look into the right half of S plane. Okay, right side, right hand side. So the number of poles and zeros should be odd number. Okay, then there is a root locus on real axis. If it is even number, there is no root locus on real axis. That's all. Okay, so you can easily follow that. You can able to see here. So if you are considering the test point in between the two poles, if you want to look into the right hand side, there is a one pole. Therefore, there is a pole root locus on the real axis from first pole to second pole. You can draw that as a dark line. Okay, so if you are taking a test point in between the second pole and third pole, then if you are looking in the right hand side, you can count the number of poles and zeros. So you are getting a two poles, so which is even number. Therefore there is no pole or no root locus on real axis from second pole to third pole. So therefore dark line should not draw. Okay, similarly take the another test point in between third pole to the entire negative real axis. Then you can consider, you have to look into that. You can consider. So here how many poles and zeros are there in the right hand side. So there is a three number of poles and zeros, that which is odd number. Therefore from third pole to entire negative real axis will be root locus and real axis. Like that you have to do the thing. So finally you have to draw the root locus and real axis. Okay, so here you can able to see first pole to second pole there is a root locus and real axis, therefore dark line. From second pole to third pole there is a even poles located on the right hand side of the test point. Therefore there is no root locus on real axis, it's given empty. And then entire negative real axis will be root locus and real axis. Okay, so this is how we have to do the second step. It's very simple. So if you want to determine the third step, you have to determine the angle of asymptotes and centroid. For this we have to follow the formula. Okay, so here angle of asymptotes will be plus or minus 180 into 2p plus 1 divided by n minus m, where n is equal to number of poles, m is equal to number of zeros, and k will be varies from 0 to 1. So now we are going to take the transfer function. Okay, so here you have to consider three number of poles are there. N is equal to 3 and m is equal to 0. So you can just substitute, you can apply the various number of k. You can able to see the angle value is been repeated from plus or minus 60, plus or minus 180, plus or minus 360, plus or minus 420, like that for various values of k. Okay, so now what we are going to do, so whenever the angle is been increasing greater than 180, so then you have to add that with the plus or minus 360. For example, plus 300 will be added with minus 360, then we'll be getting minus 60. Okay, so similarly minus 300 will be added with plus 360, you'll be getting plus 60. Therefore the equivalent degree for plus or minus 300 will be minus or plus 60 degree. Similarly, for plus 420 will be added with minus 360. You'll be getting plus 180. Like that it will be there. Okay, so here you can able to see the repeated angle has been 60 degrees. So and one more angle is 180 degree. 180 degree is almost it's a straight line. Therefore, we need not to consider as the angle of asymptotes. So the remaining angle is plus or minus 60. Therefore, we have to consider this as a angle of asymptotes. Okay, so here like that we have to do the determination for angle of asymptotes, and then we have to determine the centroid. Okay, so here you can centroid formula is sum of poles minus sum of zeros divided by n minus m. Sum of poles is 0, minus 1, minus 2. There is no sum of zeros are available. Take that as a 0 divided by number of poles is n, that is 3 minus 0. Okay, so like that if you want to determine the centroid, you can determine that sigma is equal to minus 1. So it becomes like that. Okay, so once you determine all the values, you can take that into the graph sheet, ordinary graph sheet. You have to draw a real axis and the imaginary axis with the same scales. Scale should be symmetrical. It's very, very important. So here you have to place the number of poles, or at the origin there is a pole and then minus 1, minus 2. So then root locus and real axis you should draw, and then find the centroid and then mark the angle of asymptotes by plus 60 and minus 60. Okay, and then you can go for the next step to determine the break-even and break-in point. To determine this, we have what we have to do. We have to take the characteristic equation of the closed loop transfer function. So you have to take that characteristic equation. From that, you have to determine the k equation. From take the k equation and differentiate that with respect to s and equal to 0. Then you will be getting maximum s value. Okay, so that s value, determine that s value. Again, substitute that into the k. If the k is positive and real, then there is corresponding s value will be having a considered as a breakaway and break-in point. If the k is not equal to positive and real value, then there is no breakaway and break-in point in the problem. It's very simple thing. So now you can do that. So here k has been determined and you are differentiating with respect to s. Okay, and then you are considering the quadratic equation and determining the s value, and again this s value has been substituted into the k equation, and you are going to check whether the k value is positive and real for corresponding these two s values. So here for s is equal to 0.4 minus 0.42, so k becomes positive, therefore the corresponding that s values becomes a breakaway point. The remaining is not a breaking point. That's all. Okay, so like that when once you got, so break-in point, you have to mark it. Okay, so that's all, and then you can go for the next step. Okay, so that is to determine the angle of departure and angle of arrival. So whenever you are having a complex poles into the transfer function, then you have to have the angle of departure. Okay, so whenever you are having a complex zeros, then you will be having a angle of arrival. But in this problem, there is no complex poles or no complex zeros are presented. Therefore, there is no angle of departure and angle of arrival will be determined. Okay, so therefore, the next last step to determine the imaginary crossing point. Okay, so in order to determine that, you have to take the characteristic equation again, replace this x into j omega, yeah, and separate real part and imaginary part. Okay, so and equate imaginary part equal to 0, you will be getting omega value. Okay, and substitute that omega value into real equation, then you will be getting k value. So if that k value is positive, okay, positive and real, then the root locus will be stable. If the k value is not positive, then the root locus is said to be unstable. So this is how you have to construct the root locus, and you have to say whether the system is stable or not, depending upon the locus of the roots which is taken. Okay, in the S-plane. So this is how we have to draw the root locus on real axis. For this problem, the root locus will be drawn as like this also. You will be having angle of asymptotes. So you are having a breakaway point. From this breakaway point, the roots are gets break and crosses the imaginary axis and running in parallel with the angle of asymptotes in both the imaginary axis and with the angle of asymptotes. So this is the root locus for this problem. Okay, similarly, this is for the MATLAB results for this problem to obtain the root locus. Okay, so this is similarly you can do for all the um, example you can take the different kinds of difficult transfer functions. You can determine the do the each step separately also. Okay, how to determine the breaking point for a given these things like that. Okay, so then we go for the Nyquist stability. So this is a third stability criterion. So first of all, what we have discussed, as per the Routh-Hurwitz criterion, so whether the poles are located in the left of a S-plane, system is stable. If it is located in the right of a S-plane, system is unstable. By the root locus technique, what W.R. Evans said, if the roots takes the different path for variation open loop, for the variation of parameters of k varies from 0 to infinity. Okay, so if the k is positive, then the system is said to be stable, otherwise it is said to be unstable. But as per the Nyquist stability, for example, you can take as per the Nyquist stability criterion. So okay, so If the poles are located in the origin, okay, then we cannot able to predict whether that pole is completely belongs to right of a S-plane or completely belongs to left of a S-plane. So we cannot able to predict easily. Okay, so therefore that is very difficult. Therefore, what we are going to do, we are coming with another improved version of stability analysis by the Nyquist. He is the person he come up with the new theory. So whenever the poles are located in the origin, then we cannot easily predict completely predict whether the system is stable or not. Okay, so therefore, what he does, entire right of a S-plane is been in circles. Okay, so then the number of encirclement is been in the anti-clockwise. Okay, then the number of poles at the right of a S-plane are equal with the anti-clockwise encirclement, then the system is stable. If the encirclement is being there in the clockwise encirclement, then the system is completely unstable. There is no pole at the origin or no pole at the right of a S-plane. There is no encirclement means then the system is completely stable. So this is about the stability criterion which is derived by the Nyquist. Okay, so that is what we are going to discuss. He is also taking the closed loop transfer function only. So to closed loop transfer function always consists with the g of s divided by 1 plus g of s h of s. The characteristic equation will be denominator of the closed loop transfer function. So 1 plus g of s h of s equal to 0. So therefore f of s becomes a 1 plus g of s h of s. So here you can able to see g of s h of s equal to obviously minus 1. Okay, so if that minus 1 plus j0 point is encircled with anti-clockwise encirclement, then the system is stable. If it is encircled with minus clockwise encirclement, then it is being said to be the unstable. So if minus 1 plus j0 point is has no encirclement, no polar right of a phase plane, then the system is stable. So this is the three conditions. So this can also be called as a principle of argument. That is where n is equal to p minus z. So p is nothing but your number of poles, z is nothing but your number of zeros. So if n becomes positive, then the system is said to be stable. Okay, so therefore the number of anti-clockwise encirclement will be more. So if z is more, then the number of encirclement um, will be in the anti-clockwise encirclement. Therefore, system is unstable. Okay, so like that you can see. So that is the thing, and then you can able to see. That is being given as a statement. Nyquist stability criterion can be stated as follows. If the G of S H of S Nyquist contour in the G of S H of S plane correspond to the Nyquist contour in the S plane, encircles the points minus 1 plus G0 in the anti-clockwise encirclement as many times of number of right of S plane, then the system is said to be stable. Okay, so otherwise it is unstable. So here you can able to see the no encirclement and no encirclement of plus minus 1 plus 0 point and no poles at right of a phase plane, then the system is completely unstable. If there is a pole at right of a phase plane, then the system is completely unstable. Okay, similarly with the anti-clockwise encirclement. So whatever the encirclement is there in the clockwise encirclement, then the system is said to be unstable. Okay, so like that we can say. So here you can able to see we are having a various kinds of Nyquist contours are available. Okay, so here you can able to see if there is no pole at origin, then how to determine the stability of the system? For that, we have to consider this Nyquist contour. In this Nyquist contour, we will be having only the contour sections C1 and C2 and C3. Okay, C1 section will be this is the first Nyquist contour which will varies with omega, and okay omega will be varies from 0. And 0 plus 2 and 0 infinity. Okay, so that will be the thing. So here it will be as the above upward arrow mark, and then C2 will be the semicircle which encircles the entire negative right of a phase plane. So the radius will be infinity for this. So the phase angle will be varies from plus 90 to minus 90. Okay, so that will be the thing. And so the third contour will be C3. C3 will be just a mirror image of C1. Therefore, its omega value will be varies from minus infinity to minus 0. Okay, so this will be the three contours which is available if there is no polar origin. Okay, so now you can able to see the diagram also. So here you can able to see next contour. Okay, so next contour is So next contour is there is a pole at origin. Okay, so if there is a pole at origin, so if there is a pole at origin, we can have a four contours. Okay, so that is C1, C2, C3, and C4. So here, if there is a pole at origin, there is a small contour which will be having a radius as 0. Okay, like so phase angle will be varies from -90 to +90. Okay, like that it will be as okay. And then contour C1 will be as usual, C2 will be radius will be infinity like that. Okay, and if there is a pole at the real imaginary axis, then the sections will be has a seven contours. Okay, so like that it will be analyzed here also. You can able to see each section will be determined as usual like that. Okay, always the C1 section will be drawn with the Nyquist S plane. Okay, f of s plane uh, as per the polar plot. Okay, so how we can draw the polar plot? So depending upon the type number and order of the system, you can sketch the polar plot. Okay, so that will be the thing. So here, as the procedure which is followed for the polar plot, we can follow and draw the C1 contour. Okay, C2 contour as usual, you have to consider as is equal to limit s tends to 0 r into e power j theta. Theta varies from -90 to +90. Okay, you have to substitute that into the transfer functions and you will be getting the corresponding contours. Okay, and similarly C3 will be mirror image of C1. Therefore, just opposite mirror image of C1 polar plot will be drawn over here. C4 will be just like a C2, only here is R tends to 0. So R into e power j theta, okay, where theta varies from +90 to -90. Like that it will be varies. If imaginary axis it consists with poles, then it will be consist with this section C7. Okay, let's C7, C8, 9, like that each section will be calculated as calculated calculate with these formulas, and then you can draw the contour, and then you can combine all the contours together, and we can say +1 -1 plus j0 point is which kind of encirclement is there. If it consists with anti-clockwise encirclement, then the system is stable. If consists with a clockwise encirclement, system is unstable. If that point is consists with no encirclement, no poles at right of S plane, system is completely stable. So like that the NICU stability can be analyzed. So it's very interesting unit. So only three stability analysis has been discussed. Okay. So hope everyone this class has been useful for you. So by having this concept only, most of the objective type of problems will come. So we discussed that also if time gives us permission. Okay, thank you. And use these concepts and for solving the great problems. Okay, thank you so much for attending the class. Thank you.